Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be on Her Story. My name is Samantha Bing. I am from Sydney, Australia. And my story is, it's a short one, but essentially, I moved to the wonderful city of Sydney when I was 17 years old. And when I did, I was quite shocked at the amount of people experiencing homelessness in Sydney, in the city, and the amount of people that were sleeping on the streets, asking for help and support and, you know, a friendly face and someone to look at them and smile and to be there and to make a connection with them. And I think I was most shocked at the amount of people that walk past them and don't acknowledge people who are on the street, and they, you know, step over them, walk past them, avoid eye contact, look at them like they're aliens and like they're not human beings experiencing one of the most traumatic events that someone can experience. And so I decided in that moment that I wasn't going to be another one of those people. I wanted to be someone who did something about it, or who made an effort to be there and to say hello and to be a friendly face to those people. So basically that's kind of how I started what we co-founded called the Homeless Christmas Drive. And it started because at that time it was around Christmas, and Christmas for me it's a beautiful big part of my family and our celebrations and getting together. And I thought that, you know, how sad it might be for someone who is experiencing homelessness, who might not have a family or a connection or have the privilege to spend a day with their family and their loved ones. So I thought, how could I make that day better? How could I make that day nicer for them? So I thought about the concepts of Christmas that I enjoy, which is, you know, it's that first wake up feeling, I guess, knowing that it's Christmas Day, you're going to see your family. Of course, presents is a big thing in Australia. So that is something I considered as well. And so I thought, what could make a difference for them that I could do in, I guess, a small way as a single person with a friend? How could I make the biggest impact? And for me, that was basically to put together some items that I thought that these people might need and might love, or might get some joy out of, or might make them smile and know that someone is there thinking about them, and someone is there who, you know, wants them to have a great day. So we started creating care packages at Christmas time. And essentially it was filled with items that, you know, you and I use every single day, like deodorant, women's sanitary products, all of those things that I very much take for granted that I can easily access. And we packaged it all up. We put a little gift card in there so they could go to Woolies, buy some food, whatever it is that they wanted on that day, to like share and help them feel that someone was there thinking about them. So we have done that since December of 2016. It's been a really amazing learning journey and an opportunity. So the more we did it, the more, things changed. The more we spoke to these people, the more we spent time with them and sat with them and got to know them and their stories, the more it fueled my fire and my passion to do something really something that we can do that will make a difference. And so after talking to them, we constantly changed and tweaked the items that we would put in the care packages and that we would give them and the times that we'd spend with them. And I actually think what it came down to was them spending time with another person and sitting with them, and actually that human connection of, hi, like, I'm here to hear about you. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to give to you what I can, which is a listening ear. And I think that always has meant a lot more than what I could physically give. So through doing that and through working and volunteering at St. Vincent de Paul Society for a number of years, I've learnt so much about homelessness. I've learnt about what it is to have such a privilege, to have shelter and to have a roof over my head and somewhere to go to. And I've learnt that this could happen to anyone. It could happen to you. It could happen to me. It could happen to anyone at any point, and that no one deserves to sleep on the street. Absolutely no one. So we tried basically to see how else we could support, what else could we do, and that includes things like writing letters to government at all levels, state, local, federal, and that includes as well what we've got currently, which is petitioning the New South Wales Legislative Assembly to declare a state of emergency for homelessness. Right now, we know that our services are at capacity. We know that with the cost of living, homelessness is increasing significantly. And we know that this means there's more people in the streets, and that's a reality. We know that there's different types of homelessness. We know that there's rough sleeping, which is what you see day to day, and that's only 6% of homelessness. So what you actually see is like the tiniest amount, and then there's all these other forms of, overcrowding, sleeping in cars, and all these other forms that people don't see. So we're kind of targeting that 6% that we do see, because I don't know if, you've ever experienced homelessness. I can't speak for anyone, but I know that I thought for me to make a big impact and to actually understand and speak from the heart when it comes to this, it was something that I needed to do for myself. So I slept on the street for a night, and I tell you what, there wasn't much sleeping happening in the city of Sydney, under the Harbour Bridge, Opera House. It was a lot of walking, in all honesty. And I couldn't sleep. I lasted one night, and that came from such a place of privilege of being able to then go home that morning that I woke up, to go back to my bed and have a shower and to jump into my bed and actually try and get some sleep, because I was so uncomfortable and it was so cold and scary and, just like all of those emotions. And I think one of the biggest ones was the people walking past me and not even looking at me, or like, there's just another person sleeping on the street. And, the one or two people that did make eye contact and did smile, that was something that I found, really meaningful, and like that kind of supported me through that night. So right now we're petitioning the New South Wales government the Legislative Assembly, to declare a state of emergency. And what that entails is essentially for them to look at homelessness and go, how can we solve rough homelessness right now? What would that entail? And would that entail the vacant buildings and the vacant places that we have all across Sydney, New South Wales, and we redeploy, kind of like what we did in COVID. You'll know that during COVID, we didn't have anyone sleeping on the streets because we used hotels. And so we know that this method is tried and used and it works. And what it does is provide these people with safety, shelter, support, security, all of those things that they can't get when they're experiencing rough homelessness and sleeping on the street. So that's what we're aiming to do. Whether or not we get the signatures to have this debate is another question. But I also think what a fantastic opportunity that even if we don't get to what we need to have this debate to happen in Parliament, what a fantastic opportunity is it for people to learn about homelessness, to hear these stories, to do some research for themselves, to find out some more information, and just to raise awareness on homelessness as well. I've always thought that even if we only got 5 signatures on this petition, that's 5 more people who might have learnt something more about homelessness, that might have learnt something new, that can now, when they walk in the streets and they see someone experiencing homelessness, they can go, oh, hey, this, I can smile at this person. This is a human being here that, deserves my respect and deserves dignity. So that's why we're here.
Well, I'll tell you, listening to you speak is like music to my ears, because a lot of young people sleepwalk through life. We see the disadvantaged in the streets, and you walk past them like they're not human beings.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you started the drive?
I'm pretty sure I was 18 or 19 years old. Yeah.
That is so crazy. No, thank you for your work. This is just incredible. So tell me, what have been some of the key success stories or challenges that you've encountered so far?
I think if I look at the success, I look at it in the terms of, have we solved homelessness? No. Can we? Yes, we absolutely can. Do we have the resources to? Yes, I think we do. We have the brains, we have the people, we have the power, and we just need to try something different, and we need to take that risk, and we need to take that step. And I think through my journey, my successes have been those moments where I have been on the street with people and I have got to sit down with them on Christmas Day or on Christmas Eve and hear their story and hear about how they ended up in this position that they find themselves in.
Yes.
And obviously everyone is so different, and that connection and sometimes even the reaction of just someone sitting down with them is so overwhelming that it's just they're incredible people, incredibly resilient, just brave, amazing, and doing their best. They're just doing their best out there. And I think as a society we can do a lot better too. And I think the more as time goes on, the more people are seeing that too, that they can give back, and they can give their passion, and they can share their love, and they can do that with others. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
Wow. As a global women peace ambassador, how do you see the intersection of homelessness and peace building? And what role do you believe advocacy plays in creating more peaceful communities?
That's a very great question. And I think it has such a massive impact and a massive cross-section. And I think peace is a very broad term and a very powerful, powerful tool that we as a society can use to harness, to advocate for things and to raise awareness. And if I look at our work in the Global Women's Peace Network, and I look at some of the incredible women there and their stories, and I think one of the key things that we know about homelessness is that the leading cause of homelessness is domestic violence in Australia. And then I look at the work that the Global Peace Ambassadors and that network are doing around Clare's Law, which is a law to implement, it comes from, sorry, I'll rephrase. The work that the Global Women Peace Ambassadors are doing and that network is linked with Clare's Law. And I think them advocating for Australia to adopt the law that Britain used around domestic violence, and that knowledge of if a partner has had an abusive past, how much that those two connect into each other, and how much that advocacy piece can make a difference in so many other worlds, such as homelessness. And I think that that's really huge.
That is massive. That's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Living a life in service to others requires immense dedication. What motivates you to continue this work, especially when faced with challenges that often accompany advocacy for vulnerable populations?
I think what motivates me is knowing how privileged I am and how lucky I have it, and how I can use that privilege and that voice and that power, and I'm privileged to be able to do so,
Mm.
to support other people who don't have the capacity or the ability to be able to do that and in their current state at the moment. And I think what motivates me, especially when faced with challenges, is just keeping in mind that constant service above self, and that idea that by helping other people, I'm helping create a world of, other people that are helping other people, which then just dominoes. And it's like
Mm.
that pay it forward, then dominoes on so much. So the small work that I could be doing here, which might feel really small to me, could then, impact further and further and further along. And it could just create, it can actually create meaningful and impactful change. And I think
Yeah.
that that's what keeps me going every morning.
So, in your experience, what are some of the most common misconceptions about homelessness? And how do you work to challenge and change these perceptions?
That is a really good question, because there are a lot of
Mm.
misunderstandings or misconceptions about homelessness. I think one of the biggest ones I hear is that people choose to be homeless.
Yeah.
And the answer I have to that is, you only choose to be homelessness, or to experience homelessness, or to be homeless when that situation, which is horrific, is better than the situation that you're currently in. And I
Mm.
think, and knowing that the leading cause of homelessness is domestic violence, that's
Yes.
massive. And I know that people say, oh, people who are homeless, they do drugs and they do alcohol and, all of these other things. And I challenge those people to actually go talk to people who are experiencing homelessness and
Mm.
actually find out for themselves, because that's not always the case.
That's
And
right.
it is such a difficult experience. And I challenge people to push themselves outside their comfort zone. And if you think homelessness is easy, or people choose that, go sleep a night on the street yourself. And you will very quickly realize that people don't make that choice easy. That's not an easy
No.
choice, if they even have a choice. And, a lot of the time they don't. So, yeah, those are probably some of the things that I've learned in my journey. And my biggest thing that I could share with anyone is that they're human beings, and they
Mm.
deserve love and respect and kindness just as much as anyone you're passing in the street. And if you can do one simple act of smiling or saying hello, it
Yeah.
is so powerful, so
Difference.
much, so powerful.
So, your leadership style is described as hardworking and energetic. How do you maintain your energy and focus while leading initiatives that address complex and pressing issues? What energizes you?
I think the people I work with energize me. I think a lot of the work that I do in this space is obviously volunteer based. So you're working alongside of people who are also dedicated to the cause, or who also have a passion in the area. And I
Yes.
think that really, really kind of helps to motivate me, because you know that you're not alone, and you're with other people who want to see the same things that you do and care for the same things that you do. So I
Yeah.
think that really helps. Hardworking, I think you just have to give 110% to everything that you do, because the people that we're doing this for, or the situations we're trying to better, that deserves 110%, and it doesn't deserve any less. So
What are some of the most impactful ways that individuals or communities can get involved in supporting the homeless, especially during the holiday season when your Christmas drive is active?
yes, beautiful. That's a really, really great question. I think People can get involved in so many different ways, whether it be through money donations to your big charities, whether it be through product donation as well. I know services are always looking for things that they can give. It doesn't have to be money. So, things like shoes and clothes and all of those kind of essential items. But the
Yes.
biggest thing that anyone probably listening could do is have a conversation and have a chat and sit down and say, hey, how could I help you? What would be really great for you right now? Or, hey, I'm jumping into the servo just to grab myself a bottle of water. Would you like anything? And, 9 times out of 10, when I've done that, it's been, I'd love a sandwich, or I'd love a bottle of water, or can I grab a can of Coke, or, something like that. And that small little thing, because I was going there already anyways, and even if I wasn't, it's just that, doing that little thing can make that person feel listened to, heard, and valued.
Yeah, and just being seen, right? I think every human being has a desire to be seen. And a lot of times we don't realize how powerful that simple message is, just
Absolutely.
to be acknowledged for their humanity. So, as someone who's deeply passionate about service, how do you balance your advocacy work with your personal life? And what advice would you give others who want to make a difference without experiencing burnout?
That's a good question. And I feel like I am not amazing at answering this one because in terms of personal life, I suppose, I feel like I get a lot out of volunteering and a lot out of giving, and it fills my social cup, it fills my giving cup, it fills my, my passion and my love. And I haven't yet experienced burnout, and I know that probably one day I will, because everyone does go through it. But I think when you're doing something that you love and you're doing it every day and you can see the outcomes and you're working with beautiful people who, feel the same way, I think that just keeps you going, and it just keeps that passion and that fire alive. So hopefully not to experience burnout anytime too soon.
Love it. That is just awesome. Yeah, because burnout does happen. And it's just a matter of just being cautious, I guess, and wary that self-care is part of you taking care of you so that you can serve more people.
That's right.
And if you don't do that, we need people like you. So you really have to take care of yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I do enjoy swimming, so I do that for me. And so I do get some, self-care and self-love and painting and, all of those things. So
Good. Now, homelessness is a global issue with unique challenges in different regions. Based on your experience, what are some of the most effective strategies for addressing homelessness, both on a local and global scale?
That's a really great question. I think the first step is dispelling misinformation. I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of places experience on an international, stage, is that misinformation, and it spreads so quickly and it damages so much. It creates so much stigma around homelessness and the complexities of it. I think things that are very common across all of our universally, I think things that are really common are things around mass people and people gathering together when they are experiencing homelessness. And I think it's really quite fascinating. And I'm sure there's been a lot of, study and work into it. But I guess it's that need for social connection, because when you're experiencing homelessness, it is so isolating and it is so, terrifying and lonely. And so communities do form, and that's very, very natural and a very, very normal way of society and how we live. So I
Yes.
think that that's something that's really common on a more of a global scale. But I
Right.
definitely think the best way that on a global scale people can do is advocate, is spread the correct and the right information, and fact search things as well before spreading things or sharing things, so that we make sure that we are sharing the right information. And then thirdly is that non-judgmental, kind of way that you can approach things, is just to be open and to listen and to hear.
Now, I know that you have a petition that's going for New South Wales government. I've just created a QR code to the link. Talk a little bit about the petition so that people can get to know how they can support you.
Absolutely. So, if you sign the petition, which will take about 2 seconds of a total, essentially what you're doing is you're adding your voice to our petition to declare a state of emergency for homelessness in New South Wales. The facts are that we know that the numbers are increasing. We know that services are at capacity. We know that there's people being turned away from services, and we need to do something different. We need to try and help in any way that we can. So we're petitioning the Legislative Assembly to declare a state of emergency. We need 20,000 signatures, and we've got a little while to go. But essentially, adding your voice means that you stand with the shelter first model and the concept of the fact that we need to provide our people experiencing rough homelessness with shelter, safety, security, and all of those things that we can do within our power to break that cycle of homelessness, so that it isn't a recurring and ongoing issue and cycle.
Fantastic. Well, we've got it on the screen, and I've also put the words to the URL. So please, everybody, go out there. Let's support this amazing cause. Now, looking forward, what are your goals for the future for the Homeless Christmas Drive and your advocacy work? And how do you plan to continue making a positive impact in the lives of those experiencing homelessness?
So, long term, my hope is to end homelessness in Australia and across the world, because it is absolutely solvable, and we can do something about it, and we can make change, and we can try different things. And we need to learn and we need to listen. So long term, that's the goal. That would be the dream. Obviously, it's a very multifaceted issue, with all different kind of things that impact it. So there's a lot of different sections within homelessness that we need to look at, whether that be through the shelter, whether that be through the domestic violence, whether that be through family abandonment, whatever those kind of issues that cause homelessness.
Yeah.
We need to look at all of those factors, and we need to look at them broadly and creatively, and we need to keep moving forward on a lot of them. So I think that that's kind of how we can best address it. In terms of the Homeless Christmas Drive, I think what we'd really love to do is reach as many people as possible that we can, so that we can make a big difference and we can help more people. I know that in the years that we've been running, we've probably supported over 400 people experiencing homelessness with some sort of care package or an item or a conversation, whatever that looks like for that person. So I think we would like to continue to do that, continue to increase it. And I know that this year is going to be particularly challenging because we are seeing such a rise and increase in homelessness across New South Wales. So my plea or my message to share with everyone is that, we can make a difference, and we can do that today by not being another one of those people that will step over someone experiencing homelessness, and by actually being there, being present, smiling, saying hello, can just make such a massive difference.
Wow. Now, my last two questions are a bit of a time experiment. In the first one, I'm going to teleport you into the past, and we're going to go and meet that young girl who decided to take a stand around homelessness at the age of 18. If you could go back to her right now and give her 3 nuggets of wisdom, Based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
Don't stop learning. Never ever stop learning. I think we learn something new every single day, and I think everyone's constantly learning, hearing people's experiences. So that one is my first one. My second one would be to remain positive in the face of adversity. And when people say, that's impossible, that can't be done, that's okay. That's their opinion. And, everyone's allowed to have one. You've got yours. So you just keep going on your path and let them go on theirs, because if that's, the way that they want to go, that's fine. And to, be okay with that. I think that you won't convince everyone, or that not everyone will share the same passion as you. And that's so fine. Like, I don't share the same passion as everyone else. So that's okay. And the third piece of wisdom I would say is bring people along on the journey. It can get lonely out there when you're, standing by yourself and you're trying to make such an impact, and you can't without the right people by your side. And you need to, bring those people and share in the wins, celebrate the wins that you have with the people that, have helped and made a difference. And keep moving forward. Those are my 3 wisdoms.
Love that. And now the last question, I'm going to teleport you into the future, and we are going to go and meet the 90-year-old you. And she is sitting in her rocking chair on her porch, surrounded by her children, her grandchildren, her dogs, her cats, whoever's with you at the end, right? If I could teleport you into the future to go and meet this wise woman who's led you to that point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her?
I think I'll say, you did a great job. You did make a difference. You made an impact. You gave it 110%, and that's all that anyone could have ever asked of you. And I think that would make me very happy to hear that when I'm 90.
I love to ask that question, Samantha, because a lot of women don't realize that the wise woman is already in us. She's that little voice that got you off your butt at the age of 18 and said, you can do something about this. Take a stand, advocate. We sometimes look outside of ourselves for answers, but you were born with everything you need to do this work. That little seed that's inside you that makes you care for people, that makes you see people that are normally ignored, is something really special. So thank you for listening to your wise woman as she guides you on this path. I almost feel like crying as I tell you this, because you're doing something absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now you're going to make me cry as well.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is a social impact movement. We bring you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, inspire you, energize you, but give you the tools and the inspiration to get you from where you are now to where you want to go. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Samantha, thanks again for the interview.
Thank you.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. and join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep